right, we're getting down to it. So next up, we have Where Have All the Fish Gone? Puzzling Patterns of Change in Portage Valley Salmonids with Douglas Casey, John Newman, Salmonid from UAA. So, Doug?
Thank you. Hello, everyone. I'm glad to be here. Given the time, I'm going to give a brief overview of some of the work we've been doing. I'm at UAA, and I'm really fortunate in that for the last 15 years, I have a class called Exploration Ecology, which students are learning how to do field research. And where we do our field research is Portage Valley. Why Portage? Is first, it's sort of a model for Prince William Sound and this entire area. Second, as everyone here will appreciate, you can drive to it. Okay, and because it's easy to get to, because it's easy to get to, it means that we can continue to do this research over years. This picture that you're looking at right now is students who are drilling a hole in one of the ponds in Portage Lake. This is work that's being done in winter. And what we're doing is looking at the long-term patterns of the salmonid fish in Portage Valley, again, as an indicator for this entire area. It worked. Okay. And here's some more pictures of this. And what I wanted to show you here is that the techniques we're using are what is standard for looking at the juvenile salmon. The top picture there is a minnow cage, which is baited. And then we now use a technique of where when we capture the fish, we put it into this is the bottom picture there, a plastic device that we can see through and measure it. After we've done that, then we will put the fish back into the stream. Now, as you all know, the adult salmon come up the stream late summer and fall, aggregate, will breed, and then they die. What we're looking at is not the adult fish, but the juvenile fish. And I wanted just to show you that there is some excellent guides for being able to identify the juvenile fish. But before I get to that, this is where some of our sample localities are. And this is Portage Valley, as you see. And these sites that are marked there, we have been sampling for about the last 12 years. So really quickly, just to show you that there are these very good guides on allowing us to be able to identify the juvenile salmonids. And again, I just wanted to show you that these guides allow us to identify very accurately which species we're looking at and their size. So here is the fish. Now, I will show you a chart later about the patterns that we've observed over this period of time. In 2023, two of the students started looking at the salmonid fish outside of breeding season. This is as the juveniles are developing, and the diversity of species was quite low. In fact, the only salmon was coho, and also blackfish. And the pictures you're seeing there are what the fish look like when we are measuring and identifying them. A few years earlier, a similar work was being done, and what they found was that there was fish in the North Fork of the Willowa, but not in the south. And we're talking about a very small area of Portage. That table there is just showing you that one of the things that was determined to be different between these environments, between the North Fork, which did have Coho, Chinook, sockeye in it, And the South Fork, which had none, was the water temperature. And the water temperature in the South Fork was about a degree colder. That's all. There's been some work done on how the salmon smolt to develop, and it's different for each species. And at some cold temperatures, they will not develop. What happens in the usual year is that the very young fish, like in fall, will develop and then hide at the bottom of the stream. Winter comes, they are pretty much inactive, and then spring comes, and the warming temperatures allow them to grow. Okay, this table here is what I wanted to show you. The data here, the columns are the different species of fish, stickleback, blackfish, coho, and so on. The rows are years, and I know it's hard to read these on the screens here, but that top row is 1977, which is a study that we found first done in the forest. And then going from 2012 all the way to 2019, and why I stopped there is that those black X's are areas that are in the Portage Valley drainage. The ones that are in red in 2022, 2023, and most recently in 2025, the only salmon fish that were found were in Alder Pond. Nowhere else in Portage Valley were there any juvenile fish. So, everyone drives through Portage Valley, right? Okay, and so you get off the Seward Highway and turn on, and you're in the valley. Well, it turns out that you're in the valley, but you're not in the drainage of Portage. It's actually the Placer River drainage. And those sites where now we've only discovered young fish are in the Placer River drainage. This picture here, which is also a little bit hard to see, this is from that report we found in the basement of the Forest Service headquarters, by the way. Man, going through those file cabinets was an experience. I'm still alive, okay. All right, but this is a report that was done in 1977, and it shows the interest that was by BLM, this is before it was Forest Service land, about improving habitat for salmon. And the only areas that were identified I have in red there are in the Placer River drainage. All right, so this is just some of the interim insights, and I will tell you that we're really fortunate in having John Nauman here, who is a student who is continuing this work. That the complete disappearance of young salmon from Portage Valley drainage is something that we're trying to figure out. We don't know the answer, but we see the patterns. So what we do see is that in fall, the adult salmon are actively assembling in the drainage. Coho, Chugach, sockeye. But the diversity of young fish has very actively decreased to only one species. The populations have decreased to almost nothing. What are some of the possible causes? This is what we're looking at. It could be increasing water temperatures. It could be water quality. There is an influx of beavers in Portage Valley and not in Placer Valley. Beaver dams are often seen as something to be used to improve salmon breeding habitat, but that's in areas where there is a lot of access. In Portage Valley, the beaver dams are blocking the streams. And so the adults, this is what we think, the adults can get to some of the lower areas, but the young fish are not able to survive. So what we're going to be doing the next couple of years is trying to understand more about what are the backgrounds showing these patterns. Again, what we've seen is almost a complete absence of young salmon in Portage Valley. The adults are still coming, but it does not look like there is active breeding. So I'm going to stop it right here, If there's any questions, and then they'll get to the next talk. Okay, thank you.